Okay, folks, here we go. There has been a lot of articles released after my video this morning that goes into much more detail than the first article I linked. So I'm going to go through the key points of all the information we got today. This information comes from several game information sites that have released information, again that word, on a demo of a scripted battle between the Orcs and the Empire that they got invited by CA to come along and see. First of all, I'm going to get the piece of information that most people will be disappointed about, but I think it's also good, probably for the best, but still heartbreaking. And it's in the title, so we probably already all know this by now. It's not going to be released this year. It's going to be released at some point next year, in 2016. We don't have any more information on that yet, we just know it's going to be next. Moving on. We've also been told that there will be minor races in this game, not just the 4 main playable races. So, I've got to get this out of my system. To all those people that were giving me gripe on the forums to do with my predictions video, saying that there would be no minor races, and so on, and so on. I hate to say it, but I told you so. I told you so. These minor races, though, will take up sections of the map just like minor factions in other Total War games. Sort of minor factions, minor cultures in other Total War games. So the factions I am looking at for this are Beastmen, Border Princes, that sort of thing. These would be ideal for fleshing out and becoming playable through a DLC. But I'm moving into predictions here, so I'm going to move on quickly. Magic. There's been quite a bit of information released on how magic works in the game now. Mages do get better as they get stronger throughout. They do get better and get... The spells are also taken from the tabletop game, but magic is as unreliable as it is powerful. You can't bank on getting the spells you want every battle, and you can't rely on casting some of the larger spells every battle. Some of them you're lucky to get off once per battle. The power you use to cast spells is called the Winds of Magic, and it's random, but is also a lot stronger the closer you get to the Chaos Wastes on the campaign map. Mages gather power from the winds and build it up until they have enough power to cast their spells, with the larger spells obviously requiring more power to cast. Some of the largest spells have huge effects on the battlefield and can even change the tide of a battle single-handed. Now moving on from the spells to animations. Apparently the animations are much more satisfying than we know at the moment with other Total War games. Almost godly amounts of variation is in the game that gives the game a much greater depth and feel on the battle map. Units charging, especially orcs charge with a lot more energy than we are used to in Total War games, as well as units that are getting charged generally get ready and prepare to receive them, or even try and strike back or countercharge. Units such as Demigryph Knights which are large wingless griffins bound along, not like a horse, as you'd expect in a Total War game, but move like a bird, showing a great attention to detail and a large variation in the animations, even for a single unit. Talking about demogryphs, let's talk about their big brother, the griffins. Moving on to flying units. We have been told that these flying units can engage in epic dogfights in the skies above the main battle, or they can charge to the ground for a truly devastating charge that makes cavalry green with envy. On a similar note, a lot of monster units such as griffins or trolls get an area effect or splash damage sort of animation and move, allowing them to hurt several of the men around them at once. Moving on to Empire and its management. We've been told that how you manage your Empire in in Warhammer Total War changes drastically depending on your race. The Empire works how we are used to in other Total War games and is generally like them in most of its aspects. But we've been also told a little bit of how the orcs work. The orcs hate being at peace, and the longer they are without a good fight, the more unhappy they get and the harder they are to play. But the opposite can also be said. Orcs that fight a lot of battles and are in a lot of wars, you get a lot of nice perks to go along with it, making them very aggressive. Now, what else have we been told today? Oh yes, there is optional side quests for each named character in the game based around the lure and their gear that gives them access to improved weapon options and mounts and more and more. These quests are apparently similar to Endless Legend, the game Endless Legend and its campaign map quests, where you had to do things like talk to race A, find object B, fight battle C, and these were more scripted but optional. These quests have been confirmed to have battles, not sort of scripted battles, and this was one of the battles that the media was showing. In fact, the battle the media was showing is the battle where Karl Franz unlocks Sigmar's mighty hammer, Gal Maraz, the weapon that the Warhammer lore is actually named after. And moving on again, you will start in Total War Warhammer like you do in most other Total War games, small, and you will build up. Uniting your race is a very, very good idea and should probably be one of your goals right from the outset of your campaign. But each race goes about this in its own unique way. We've been told a bit about how this works for the Empire and the Orcs. The Orcs generally pound their rivals into submission and force them to join and follow them, and that is how they go about uniting their race. Whereas we've been told that the Empire mainly goes about this using politics and diplomacy to force the others to follow you. And the last main piece of information I have gathered from today is that our heroes will replace agents and can attach themselves to units to fight on the battlefield map, as well as fulfilling the roles of agents on the campaign map. So there we go. I think I've covered all the main points of information that we've got today. So I hope you've enjoyed this video and stayed informed. See you next time.